screaming, "Ooh!" Assalamu alaikum. The biggest thing here that I noticed was family. The UK doesn't have a strong kind of family, sense of family kind of values and things like we do, but like it's nothing compared to Jordan's sense of family. So I was so shocked when we got off the plane, and not just the immediate family was waiting for us at the airport, it was everybody was there. Even the great grandma was sitting there on the curbside, like waiting for us patiently, and they'd been waiting for us for hours because our plane was delayed. And I just was so overwhelmed, like I didn't even know how to kind of process it, that they were all there and all the kids were there, and it was the middle of the night and there were all these little kids running around the airport waiting for us, and there were balloons and everyone was so happy to see us. And I found it really overwhelming, like, wow, this is what family is. So then there was the family dynamic to get my head around, like it was so different. And obviously you've got very clear gender roles that as well as a whole other kettle of fish. But something that I found really interesting was that the girls, you know, the hijabi girls, and of course I hadn't been exposed to many hijabi girls, so I was new to the entire kind of culture around it. But I was surprised by how the hijabi girls were very kind of prim and proper when they're outside and in public or around strangers and things like that. So we had a big party when we first arrived, and the girls went up on the roof, and it was all very kind of calm and these things. And then when everyone went home, we all got together, all the family, so it's like mixed, boys and girls, but it's immediate family. And then the girls would be like standing on the chairs, like singing and dancing and clapping and leading the chants. Like they would kept doing these like chants. I don't know, they're like tribal chants, or they're like, I don't know, like old songs, traditional old songs, Jordanian songs and things. And the girls would be leading that, and they'd be shouting and clapping. And I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I would never do that in front of my uncle. But it would be okay to do that in front of strangers. And it's totally different because it's just so much more innocent. It's so much more kind of based around it being a family and things. And I loved that. I just thought that was such an original, like different way of kind of conducting the family. And I love as well, like I noticed how joyful everybody was. So it's so easy. It's not just because, you know, the eldest son was coming home with the bride. It was also like everyone is so joyful and will so easily like start singing and start clapping and dancing and doing dabkir in the street, and it doesn't matter, like you don't need an event for that. And I kept looking around like that first week at all of this dancing and things. Wow, no one is drinking. Like this is amazing. Like everyone is just doing this spontaneously, and there's no kind of reason for it, just out of joy. People are just dancing and things, and that's just really beautiful. It was one of the very first things that I noticed. As well, in between all this like singing and dancing and people being really, really super happy, there were really big kind of arguments going on as well, and I kept being like looking at my husband for reassurance, like, oh my god, the big uncle is like shouting, he's like red in the face and shouting so much. And I'd be like, oh my god, they're so angry. And people would like look at my face and be like, no, it's okay, they're not fighting, they're just having like a heated conversation, there's nothing wrong with it. And at the same time, like I've learned over time that at the same time as they're shouting at each other, they're also calling each other like my petal and my love and habibi and all of these things, like, and they're holding hands at the end of it like nothing happened and it's all fine. But I found that really hard to kind of deal with, like, oh my god, they're not angry, they just feel passionately about it, and it doesn't go any further than that. And as well, you know, we have this kind of stereotype that Arab men are like super angry and super serious and all of these things, and the keshra and all of that stuff. But like behind the keshra and behind all the shouting and these things, something that really surprised me was how gentle and emotional the men can be. Like they're not as fierce as they might come across, or that media might portray them as, or something like that. They're actually quite sensitive, and I found a lot of the time that the men that I found quite intimidating were the ones who were trying to reassure me the most and tell me, like, you know, you're gonna get comfortable here and you're gonna find your path and everything's gonna be all right. And they were the ones that reassuring me. They were the ones that noticing that I might not be feeling 100%, and they really wanted me to feel comfortable. And at the same time, I really noticed how feminine the girls were, like in their speech, in the way that they kind of conducted themselves, in how caring and nurturing they are. But as well, I definitely got the impression that the women were kind of really the tough ones, which was interesting because it's like, it's not as kind of simple. The gender roles aren't as simple as I might have imagined. And that was kind of refreshing as well. And then the two final ones are that social media is a really big deal here. Like, I was so shocked by Snapchat at the time as having its boom. But I didn't have Snapchat. I wasn't really interested in downloading it. I barely used Facebook. I didn't really care about those things, and everyone was kind of like living their lives through social media, and I felt a little bit kind of left behind. So everyone was like very advanced with their social media, and they had big followings, and everyone was kind of like documenting everything that they were doing. And wait, you have to stop for the snap, and like do it for the chat or the snap or whatever the nickname for Snapchat is, I don't know. And similarly, fashion and appearances and things are a really big deal here. And I'm someone who just has never really cared and still doesn't really care about fashion, which you may have noticed with like the random clothes that I wear and things. But people are very fashion conscious. So for any event or anything that's going to happen, like everyone will discuss what they're going to wear before, even if it's like quite like a non-eventful event. Like they'll still discuss about what they're going to wear and all these different things. And you know, for so long, I was always kind of dressing down so much that it was like raising eyebrows, like she doesn't make any effort at all. And I'd like miscalculate, I'd misjudge every single event, and I wouldn't get it right any time. I wouldn't wear like the clothes to suit the event ever. And in the end, I started going to my mother-in-law before we'd go anywhere, and I'd like say, "Is this okay?" And she'd be like, "Yeah, that's good," or like maybe just like make it a bit fancier. And eventually, like, I started to get it. And I feel like now, like 5 years later, I kind of know how to dress myself for events. Yeah, let me know in the comments what were some of the first things that you noticed when you came to Jordan. And please remember to like and subscribe. Ma salama. Bye, guys.